All right, let's do it. Why am I so aggressive?
I don't know. But I like the energy. I take it you're ready to go then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hello and welcome to Filling in the Gaps. I'm Justin.
I'm Darren.
Here on Filling in the Gaps, we typically discuss puzzling movies and puzzle games, of which today we are going to talk about The Forgotten City. Let's get some of the details out of the way. The Forgotten City is developed by Modern Storyteller, published by Villagers. Recent, very positive, overall overwhelmingly positive, with 6,500 reviews. At base, it is $25. I bought it recently for about 15, 16, something like that. Yeah. That seems to be the going sale as we record this.
I think that's the indie sale, isn't it? It's like, it never goes for more than that. I bought this before you did, and I got it for the same price, to be honest.
It's not that old, though. It's only a couple years old. I think it will hit that point later on. It's just not there
When did it come out? 2021? I'm pretty sure it was 2021.
It's a very interesting game in more than one way. It's going to be a bit tough to talk about in the spoiler-free section that we always do. But I don't know. I mean, how much can we give away? My first question would be, and obviously we'll cut this if it's not, can we say it's a time loop game?
I think we have to say it's a time loop game, yeah. I would put this in the same category as Outer Wilds and, maybe just Outer Wilds. What's another time loop game?
Well, we've talked about Sexy Brutale in the past.
And and Obra Dinn, in the sense that it's this investigative kind of thing where you progress by finding out more about the story.
Yes, I would agree with that. And I'd say Obra Dinn is probably more in tune with what this is than Sexy Brutale, though I think that there is still that kind of idea, and I do kind of want to get into that when we get into the spoiler section. Mm-hmm. It does take place, can we say where it takes place? Kind of when it takes place?
I mean, yeah, I suppose. I mean,
I think if you look at the store page, you're going to pretty much know at least the sort of time period that you're hitting. It will have you going back to a forgotten city that took place in Roman times. Nero was emperor, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
Because he's mentioned several times throughout the game. One major one of which I'm not sure how that works, but we'll get into that again when we get to the spoiler section. So it is a time loop that happens in ancient Rome, but you are not of that time.
So much mystery, we can't even define this game before we start.
That's part of what I love about this game, and I will say that I don't think it gives too much away to say that there is sort of a main quest, main story, but each character seems to have a bit of history, story, and possible mystery, or tied to a mystery in some way. And that, to me, is what the real selling point of the game is. My playtime did not hit the $1 per hour, even on sale, but I feel that it was well worth it. I would play this one again in the future.
Yeah, I went back and I 100% did this one last night or whatever. So I've definitely played it for about 18-ish hours, so I probably got it for the $1 per hour price. And it's not easy. Getting that minimalist achievement where you've got to do the whole thing in like X amount of loops. Challenging.
Yeah, I do believe you said you used a walkthrough for that.
I did. I had to use a walkthrough for that.
It's the only way I would do that one.
Someone way smarter than me has gone through it. They said, even in their walkthrough, they said, this walkthrough took me 8 hours to put together. So it's like, yep. Thank you.
It is a game not just with multiple mysteries, but multiple endings, so there's more to play with there. And the biggest thing, I think, is that you have a fairly sizable cast of characters, all of whom you can talk to, all of whom seem to have at least a minor backstory, most of which are very interesting. Some of them are amazingly interesting. Can't get into that till we get into the spoiler section, but it's this kind of mystery, intrigue, character development that I think makes Forgotten City something so special.
Yeah. Let's not forget that this was a Skyrim mod back in the day, and it was just made by a guy. He made a mod for Skyrim, and it was basically, it took place in a dwarven city, so you were underground. It was basically one of those things where you could go into a location, and it was all underground. So that was the easiest way for them to do it. Yeah, instead of the golden rule, it's the dwarven rule and things like that. And basically, the guy who made it gave up his job as a lawyer to bring Forgotten City to us on Steam. So, yeah, interesting.
There is, if you want a good history of that kind of ties into that, NoClip on YouTube did a great, I think, 25-minute documentary about this, talking about how it started and where it went through. I will say that the fact that it was sort of based on Skyrim and a Skyrim mod does have some of the facial problems that Skyrim has.
Yeah, and the way that everyone turns around to look at you in the same animation. If you come up behind them. That's weird because they must be using the same... It's very similar. Even this game is very similar to Skyrim, isn't it? How they act and how they look. And
however, that does not detract from me. I thoroughly enjoy this game.
Yeah.
I think if you like any sort of mystery game, story-driven game, this one is probably for you. This is one I can kind of wholeheartedly say this could be for just about anyone. Even I think casual gamers could get in here, and if they are intrigued by the story, they're going to want to keep playing. The first maybe 30 seconds of actual gameplay, I say 30 seconds, like the whole first kind of conversation, not as interesting to me. But once you get into the heart of the game, then it becomes something amazing.
Yeah.
Something I just think everyone should give a try.
Yeah, and it's not a thing where it's not like a big, oh, here's the twist. The twist is pretty much revealed within your first half an hour of gameplay, and then it's all about, okay, so how does this twist happen? You're focused on, okay, I know what's going on, but it's like, how does it take place? Maybe not for you.
Well, I think I would define the bigger twist as something different than you.
Well, I mean,
that one you would not have come across in the first 30 minutes. There are multiple twists that happen.
Yeah.
You can discover one very, very quickly, and basically the whole premise of what you are doing, why you're in the time loop, some of that can be answered pretty quickly. But I would say, I don't want people to get disappointed if they go, I can figure out the big twist in 30 minutes, because if I heard that, I would avoid it like the plague. Well, I don't want to know that. Because I'm the type of person where if I figure out the ending within 30 minutes, I start to lose interest.
You're not figuring out the ending in inverted quotations.
Any of them, really. But I think, well, one you could. But what I would say is there's plenty of mystery. Keep playing until you do. And I would say keep playing till you get all the endings, because that's worth it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even when we were going to record this, I was like, oh man, I'm missing one of the endings. I got 3 of them. I don't know why I didn't get the 4th one. But yeah, so I went back and I 100% of this game, and yeah, it's one of those achievements was hard. So,
all right, look,
kudos to the guy that made the guide.
He's already edging in. I'm going to cut you off there so that we can actually start really talking about the game. If you have not played Forgotten City, please go play it. If you have, or you really don't care about spoilers, well, then join us in the next part, because we're about to head into the spoiler section. When you start, the devs ask for a spoiler warning. We've given you that already. And that's fine. I think that developers can request that. That's totally fine. We always try to do that anyway. But I totally get it in a game like this.
Yeah, because that's your whole thing, isn't it? It's like, please don't just stream this on Twitch to everybody and give away the end. It's like when escape rooms ask you, hey, don't take pictures and post them online, because it kind of ruins our thing, doesn't it?
Yes. This is a game that you could, in many ways, watch as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't probably get anything more from it. It is all puzzle. It is all story. And the puzzle, in many ways, is the story. This isn't the kind of puzzle game like a Sokoban where we have to move boxes around or things like that.
Right.
There are a handful of platforming puzzle things, but not really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put this down as a puzzle platformer in any way. They also warn you that there are multiple endings. So even they have said there are multiple endings. So I think we're safe to say that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's based on involvement, not brute force. So it's not the idea of, I think, trying to kill everyone in the game.
Right.
Though that could have been fun.
There should be an achievement for that. Murder everybody.
At least once.
Yeah.
Right? Murder everyone at least once. I thought there might be. Looked through the achievement, saw it wasn't, so I didn't bother. There's a woman by a campfire who says she dragged our character out of the water, but not our ID or phone. That didn't make it, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll find out why later. We need to choose our character, male or female, skin tone, strength. So there are, I think, 4 different types. Archaeologist, which gives you insight into the world. I'm assuming this is what you chose.
You got me pegged, man. My first time, at least, yep.
I'll be very curious to see how much that helped you, because
I mean, yeah.
I suspect not much.
When you go in, you can read the plaque above the door. It's like, oh, I know what this means. But then once you get inside, it's like, oh, I can suddenly speak Latin fluently, so nothing matters anymore.
Did you find that when you were picking up stuff, you got better insight?
Not really, man, no.
Yeah, I was worried about that. And you'll know why I chose the one I chose. You can do soldier, which gives you a firearm, but only 10 bullets.
Which is completely useless.
Except for getting an achievement.
Yeah.
Is it useless because you're not allowed to kill people?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Did you try it?
That's how you get the law-abiding citizen achievement. Well, that's how I got it.
I know that because I did have to use a walkthrough a couple times. How is that law-abiding citizen?
Shoot someone in the head when you first meet them. Boom! Law-abiding citizen.
Okay. We are in the spoiler section. That could have given you one of your endings as well.
It did. That's basically you close the loop in that way, don't you? So.
Okay. Okay, good. That was one of the last ones I got because I just didn't think to do it. I was so entrenched and involved in thinking about all the other mysteries.
Yeah.
That even though I knew I could probably do that, I didn't want to. I probably should have just to do it. But.
Yeah. No, I never thought about it until last night. I didn't think about that because, like you, I was always like, okay, I gotta do this and this and this and this and this. I never thought like, why don't I just? And I knew the whole story. I was like, well, he's the one doing this. Let's just take him out of the picture. You could probably do it just by getting the bow, to be honest, and just getting the bow and going straight back to him.
Oh yeah,
is that how you did it?
Yeah, I did that in a later save because I already had the bow, so I just did it that way.
Right.
All right. Well, there's a faster way to do it.
Yeah.
He, I think, tries to talk you out of it.
Yeah, he's like, "What are you?" Okay, no.
You can do fugitive, where you're a criminal, but you move 25% faster.
Which is great for a speed run.
Or any run, I would say. It's the one I chose. I happily chose it. I do not regret it. There's so much walking around in this game, especially when the loop is closing and you have to rush through all the golden statues that are trying to kill you. I can understand Amnesiac 50% harder to take down would be good, but running 25% faster is all the time, and running through the bows and stuff.
No contest.
They only got me once. You know? I'm not going to say I didn't get hit more than that, but they only actually stopped me from getting to the exit once because I was just so fast and I could get around them. By far, in my opinion, the best thing in the game. But my question would be, if you had the bullets, did you restart the loop and restart with the 10 bullets?
Oh, that's a good point.
Or is it 10 bullets throughout your entire playthrough? Because that's the way I read it, and that made me think, well, no way.
Yeah, I think it's 10 in total. I don't know.
There are only like 24 characters, but that leaves you half of them still there.
Well, there's always the bow. Oh, there is an achievement as well for at the end of the game when you free Scintilla. There's a quick draw option where you can shoot the guy in the head at the end, and that is something else.
Oh, okay. I tried to do that, but didn't pull it off.
Right.
And I thought that the dialogue stopped me, so maybe I chose something wrong in the dialogue too.
There's it highlights it like, draw your gun.
Draw your gun.
Yes.
Yeah, because I didn't have that. Okay.
Right. So go back and have a go at that. That'll get you an achievement.
Maybe. I think I'm going to give it a break for a while, but I think I will come...
You probably played it to death, didn't you?
I probably will come back to it at some point and do a walkthrough and get all the achievements. But yeah, I've basically for 3 days, this is what I did.
This was my life.
Back to the fire. The woman tells us she wants us to go into the ruins and find Al, who we're going to find out his name is Al Worth. She promised Al she wouldn't go in, but that doesn't stop us from going in. She doesn't want to tell us her name because it's Karen.
Yeah, like the memes.
Yeah, and I put in my notes, I'm not sure that joke's going to age well. And that's something now, but I don't know that that's going to be something 10 years from now. It does fit into who the character really is, though, so okay, but that joke to me already feels old.
That's very, very
2 years ago.
Nexus mods, Skyrim kind of joke that was like put in because everyone's playing that at the time, you know?
We are told Al washed up in the river just before we did. We're in Italy on the Tiber River. She gives us a flashlight, which is virtually worthless and just gets in my way.
Yes. Oh, that's one thing as well, is when you take the gun option, the flashlight is it's like a mod on the bottom of your gun. When you're sprinting, you can't use it. You have to walk slowly to use the flashlight, which is a real...
Maybe I have my brightness settings up way too high, but I don't think I ever used the flashlight. Maybe once, and I didn't even really need to. There was a time in sort of the underground dark area where I probably could have, but the problem is I don't think you can use the flashlight and the bow at the same time. So I could see the enemy, but then I couldn't do anything about them. Right. So I still had to swap over anyway. It was just in my way of, I need to get the bow out quickly, and the drawing of everything in this one is a little bit slow.
Yeah.
We go to the ruins. We find Al's note. This is an entrance to an ancient city. There's an inscription. Good will find paradise. The wicked will get showered in gold, but this will be their final resting place. We know that because I think he's left it in some sort of stone tablet, right? Which is next to his body. The
first note is pinned to the door. And then we fall down the trap into the pool, and then we go through the old, like I think it's the modern ruins of the Forgotten City, and we find his hanged corpse.
Yeah, that's one thing that I say is good thing that I put that in a note, because as soon as I walked in, I fell down. I couldn't even read the tablet.
It's good that the voiceover keeps playing, though, but as you're falling in, it's like, oh, and I was doing this. And it's like, I'm falling this massive hole.
I wanted to look at what was over there. But that is the whole idea, is it is a trap.
Yeah.
That's why there's that golden chalice or whatever on there. I just wanted to go read the tablet.
Just wanted to be an archaeologist.
Yeah, so when we find Al, he is encased in gold and hanging from a noose. As we're walking around, we are going to hear whispers. We're going to see plaques in Latin, but I've chose the running, so I can't read them.
Yep.
I still... I put in here, I fear I may regret my character choice. But in retrospect, I do not.
Not really. I regret nothing.
In the note he leaves here, though, which I think this is the one in the stone tablet, saying, I made it through to the other side. I couldn't find my way out. Don't go there or you'll be stuck. And death is worse than that. I don't agree. In any way, even playing it at that point, I thought, that can't be possible. What's going to happen on the other side? Are we going to see Cenobites who are going to torture us the whole time? Because that I could see, but that's not at all what it's like.
No, you get to live in a cozy, quaint Roman village. Oh, like Groundhog Day style. Like,
yeah.
It's not that bad.
No. I don't think that it's worse than death.
I mean, everyone is far too nice. Maybe that's off-putting, but yeah.
Yeah. Al, what does torture you? I'm curious. The one thing I will say, though, is what we find out. Nobody seems to age because of the looping, except for the person doing the loops. So our character would be aging. Al would have aged. Perhaps decades of living the same day over and over again does become torturous. But for my 12 hours or whatever, no.
like I guess, yes, Sentius. I mean, well, more power to him. It's like he's been doing this willfully for like 30 years.
Doesn't affect him though. The age thing.
No, it doesn't. But he still has to imagine being him and being like, has someone done anything? No. Okay. someone's done something. I've got to run to the exit and avoid all these guys shooting at me every time. Like, what a life to live that would be. Just like living in this weird time loop where at any moment you might have to run for your life. I wouldn't like that. His life is worse than Al's.
The game tells us there's a photo mode.
I used it once and you get an achievement for it.
I turned it on and it gave me achievement. You don't even actually have to take the picture. I thought this would be great for you. You weren't that excited about it?
I used it a few times, yeah.
Oh, okay. I accidentally turned it on once. It drove me crazy.
Why are all these grids on my screen?
It wasn't just the grids. I found a bunch of filters. I was struggling to get back to regular again. One is very pixelated on purpose, retro style, that kind of thing. I'm like, I don't need all of these things. Just get me back to the regular one.
Just give me back to my game.
I had to filter through about 10 or 12 of them, like cycling through.
Just exit. I'm sure it would put it back. I don't think you can play the game in pixelated mode. Oh, if you could play the game in pixelated mode, like ZX Spectrum mode, that would be great.
I think you can.
Can you?
I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. Play around with it, give it a try. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
The portal to the past looks like one of the tubes from Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Whoa.
This stranger, who we're going to find out is Galerius, is the one who greets us, and he greets us every day. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Let me take you to the magistrate.
Yes.
Love Galerius, though.
Yeah, good guy. He should be mayor.
Yes.
I like him, and I love what they've done with this in how that once you progress through the time loops, what they've done is rather than you
having to do
procking everything again, you're just like, hey, Galerius, do this, and this. And then he goes off and does it. But it's not like it happens like, boom, it happens in real time. So he runs to the first place and does it. He runs to the second place. So it might not happen for a few minutes, but...
Yeah, and in fact, there are some things you can't do until Galerius has finished his chores.
Yeah. But I love that about this game, how they've taken out all the busy work, you know?
Yes. That's a real problem with time loop games, is that you can really get to the point where you're having to do the same thing over and over again, and it feels more punishing than fun. And
I get that. It's like, it's a time loop. You've got to remember. The puzzle is you've got to remember what to do over and over again and relive that moment. But it's like, well, let's all be honest. That's not fun. Unless it's like a puzzle game where that is the mechanic.
I still think that for me, there is something about a game where you're trying to create your perfect day, where you do everything.
Right.
This one doesn't do it. I don't think we've come across any that actually do that yet.
Yeah.
I think that has potential. It also has potential to be incredibly boring and punishing because you have to keep doing the same thing over and over again until you get it right.
Yeah.
But I think that has potential.
I mean, didn't the Sexy Brutale do that, though?
No.
No?
You could not do everything in the same day. That's what I tried to do. And I wasted hours and hours of my life trying to do that.
Right.
Only to realize it wasn't possible.
Right.
Which is, I think, why I still feel like it could be a good thing if it's done right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big if. Galerius will take you down to the magistrate on the way. He is going to give you a sort of tour. That's Aurelia. She owns the bar. Yeah. That down there, that's where I farm.
Here's a crazy lady. Here's our resident crazy lady.
We get to the magistrate's house. We are going to meet... Is it Horatius?
Yeah.
He's basically going to say, get back to your farm. And you, come with me. We're going to go talk to the magistrate. However, once he stops at the base of the stairs, you can talk to Horatius for ages, which is what I did. And then I went to talk to the daughter, which is Sentia.
Yeah.
Not a very nice person. But this is where we find out all about the mystery. Well, the mystery behind her sister.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly comes from her. Then, only then did I talk to Sentius, who sort of explained what's going on.
Yeah.
You are here. You are in a time loop. Something bad must have happened.
Why can I understand Latin?
We'll just rush that by. It's because you've been hanging out in the TARDIS. That's why. Yeah.
It's part of the thing.
There's the golden rule. That's the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the golden rule we typically would all know. Do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Mm-hmm.
They take it to an absolute extreme level, though, of you can't do anything according to him. You can't do absolutely anything wrong or everyone will die.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to make everyone die due to the golden rule. So it's pretty amazing that they've survived at all.
Yeah. I've got my theories on that later on.
As far as Sentius and our character, he says, I basically give you free range to go into places and snoop around.
Yeah.
Because I suspect somebody is going to break the golden rule. That must be why you're here. Because I know that there is some sort of ritual I can do to... I always get this name wrong. Proserpina?
Proserpina, I think.
The goddess of spring.
Yeah, it's basically...
And renewal.
It's basically the Greek, the Roman version of...
Persephone.
Persephone, yeah.
Yeah, which is the problem. I'm much more familiar with the Greek names than I am the Roman Latin names.
Thank you, God of War.
But not even just that. I think just in everything.
Yeah.
It kind of...
But for some of them, I get confused. It's like Jupiter versus Zeus or Persephone versus... whatever her name is, you know, it's some of them the Greek one sticks and some of them the Roman sticks.
Okay.
Like Hades versus Pluto.
Yeah. So be prepared, listeners. We're going to be bouncing back and forth, probably inadvertently and totally incorrectly. Here we go. And that's basically it.
Mm-hmm.
The main goal, we are told, is to stop anyone from breaking the golden rule.
Yeah, because he's probably tired of doing that as well. Yeah. That's been his job in this Groundhog Day over and over again.
We don't know that.
We don't know.
Like, that is one of the endings that you keep leaping to.
Yeah.
But that's fine. With this game, because it isn't that linear. I know you said that you felt that it was kind of linear.
I think it is. I think we can talk about it in a semi-linear fashion.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we can, because we will have done all the mysteries in different orders.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, the minimalist achievement, the guide that I used, it makes sense. It kind of is like, get the bow, do this, and it's like, okay, let's put it this way. There are chunks of the story that I think follow a linear progression, but within that chunk, you can do anything almost.
Let me ask you this totally random thing that I couldn't figure out. There seemed to be right on that path as we were following Galerius, just after the bar. There is a doorway, but a golden statue woman in the way of the doorway.
Nothing inside. Boring.
There's a chest.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in the chest?
Money. There's money.
Oh, okay. How do you get in there?
You break the golden rule, and then you just kind of bait her by standing outside going, nah, 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 and then she walks
she'll
out,
follow. Oh,
and then you get in the door.
Yeah, that's very simple. All right.
Yeah, it's a useful chest because it's an easy way to get $2,000 so you can free the slave.
Okay. Oh. Oh. That's not how I did it. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. Money, though, was, at first it seemed like it was going to be difficult to come by, and then found out it's the easiest thing in the whole game. Because you keep your money throughout the loops.
Yes.
You get a bow.
You keep all your gear.
You keep that through each loop, because I thought I was going to have to do that every time. And you could, with that wooden bow, it's pretty easy to get, but the golden bow would be a pain to get every loop. And I don't know how time works with that story, and if that takes away your day, or if they go, this is long, we're not going to count this as part of your day, which is more what I suspect, because I'm pretty sure with the day I did it, I wasn't immediately running to the exit afterwards. And it doesn't cut you off as well halfway through. Well, sorry, you didn't get through it fast enough. That was a concern. Didn't happen. I honestly think that it might be better to go through sort of by character and their mystery and how they play into things.
Sure.
We have a list. There's a walkthrough that did a great thing. It made a whole grid of all the characters.
Yeah. And there won't be much to talk about for some of them as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be like...
And characters do intermingle and are sometimes involved in more than one thing. But I think that for me, this kind of works a little bit better in the fact that if we go through my 6 or 7 pages of notes, we're also getting into a bunch of like, oh, that's an interesting fact, and there's this little thing.
Well, then, yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, I think character by character, I mean, some of them won't be long at all, so we'll maybe save a couple of them till the end because they're more important,
Okay. If I hit one that you want to save, let me know.
Well, the god of the underworld. We'll save him.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So let's go for it.
Let's start with Galerius. We saw him first.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, beautiful mechanic of he will just help us out at the beginning. That's great. He will also help us out for one of the endings. Once you've triggered enough things, you can say, hey, bring everybody you can to a certain place, and then we'll all get out of here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the way they've decided to do it is very weird in the game, because he just sort of stands by a pillar. He's kind of leaning on it, and there's a bunch of things you can't do, because he's not finished his chores, he's not gathered the people, he just seems to be standing there. You basically just have to move the story forward yourself, and it just later will tell you it was done.
He's texting everyone meet by the upper cistern.
Galerius is a fantastic character, though. His backstory about the Legion basically stealing from his farm, his father dying, he has to try to keep it going.
Yeah.
The Legion comes in and destroys his house and his sisters, kills them all, I believe. And yet he still tries to be a good person.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate good guy.
Yeah.
he's just so good, this guy.
He's here, he's farming, he just gets annoyed that the magistrate always takes the best bits for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he feels like this place that felt like it was going to be a bit of paradise is not because of that. Oh, it's the same thing happening again. But that's how you can convince him to run for magistrate as well.
Yeah.
You have to get the competition out of the way, but once you can talk him into that, that also is good for another character that we don't need to talk about too much, Dooley. Dooley basically is mentally challenged. They lock him up because he's sure to break the golden rule because he's always looking around for stuff and he'll just
stealing stuff,
take whatever looks good to him.
Yeah, which is a problem because, like, is Dooley really breaking the golden rule? It's like, come on, give the guy a break.
What I would say is it depends on who's defining the golden rule.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. When you get to
spoilers,
yeah, when you get to what's known as the canon ending, you get it is. And you get that when Dooley does get out. One of the first things that
the first thing he does
is like, Dooley, get out of there. I don't want you to be in there.
And the first thing he does is break the golden rule.
Yeah. Which I sort of saw, but I didn't really see what he did. He said, ooh, look at that gold or something.
Basically, because you'll be in the cage taking the plaque and all that. Yeah. So but basically what he does is he walks outside, literally goes across the street. There's a little stand. He's like, oh, that's shiny. And he picks up something. It's like, oh, that's it. You're all dead now. You know, the big voice booms out. Was it the many shall suffer for the sins of the one? It's like, I was just browsing.
Yeah. He didn't run off with it yet.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's a little disappointing. Yeah. But that's pretty much all he is. He's got the Greek plaque you need for one of the endings in his cage. It's sad. And there was also the character who died before we entered, who used to take care of him, and basically said, I've got treasure for you. You need to go find it. But I don't know how, I mean, when you have him run across and look at something like that, who is right here? Is he a thief who's always just taking stuff? Whether he realizes he's stealing or not.
Yeah.
It just makes it a bit too vague for me.
I mean, I like that because at the end of the day, it shows you this set in stone rule that they have at the end of the game where it's like, no, it means everybody. Everyone is equal. As soon as you lift something from someone else, that's it. You're done. And so, yeah.
You do also get the upper cistern key that can help save you time towards getting a couple of the endings. I didn't really need it.
I'd already discovered that. I mean, when he gave me that key, I was like, so rather than do that, which is actually quicker, I have to walk all the way up there? Like, no, I'll just take the vines, man.
Yeah.
Take the vines and do that little jump. Yeah, I can deal with that.
Next on our list, we have Fabia.
Oh, did you hear that Descartes had a thing for cross-eyed women?
No.
He would be in heaven in this game because everyone has just got such a weird gaze.
That is true.
And she's by far the worst. She's like, I don't know, weird.
Some of the voice choices for the game are really strange. She's one of them.
Oh, man. Let's not...
We will get to him later. I know who you're thinking of.
Were you on the stream when I was talking about him?
No, but as soon as I heard his voice, I was just...
Barry.
Okay, I'm not sure why you said that, but we'll get to that
Okay.
one. Fabia, she's just so vapid.
I mean, I guess she's supposed to be. That's
She
fine.
is, I guess, but that makes her not that interesting to me.
There's a good way to get around her in the first loop, so you don't have to do the first loop. If you jump up onto the ledge and walk up and around, you can get the note off the wall, and then you go and talk to her. So rather than making her die the first time, you can just avoid that completely.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of cool.
Is that an achievement?
No, but it helps you do the minimalist achievement where you don't have to reset the loop because you can get the bow the first time. You can get the bow within the first 10 minutes of the game.
If you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But right, because if she destroys the shrine, then the assassin will kill you. That's basically where we meet her. That is one of her most important bits. The other important bit for her is she knows who's been leaving the graffiti outside Virgil's. Well, sort of. She saw that they're wearing armor, which only leaves 3 characters.
Right.
And that's about it. She does, to me, feel a bit out of place, but maybe this is one of the Roman characters too. I don't know. Just, to me, I felt like she was something off of the Geordie Shore.
Yeah. But I love that as well. It's how everyone in here has a British accent. Did you ever play that game? It was like an action game.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
But all the Legionnaires were they're all from London, mate. It was weird. It was all right, lads, let's go. What are you doing? I guess a Roman Legionnaire accent hasn't been recorded so far.
Next on our list is Virgil. Virgil is he just seems incredibly nice.
Yeah.
He is homosexual, and that seems to be a problem for the cultist, which in this game means Christians.
Yeah, which means Octavia, looking at you, and Rufius.
But if those are your clues and you know that they're wearing armor, well, that trims it down to 1. When you do talk to Rufius, he's very stoic, blunt. He does not want to talk to you. You find out from Lucretia, the sort of temporary medic, that someone has rheumatism. Oh, I bet it's him. Because that sort of comes up in the dialogue tree. I do love that there are, in the dialogue tree, some things that are always there. Can you tell me how to get out of the loop? What's your story? Pretty much everybody here is happy to tell you their story.
I love that. Yeah, it's very Bethesda speech tree, isn't it? It's you can keep on asking the same thing, but when new things appear, it's they're kind of highlighted, aren't they? So it's and you got options to lie or to do certain actions. I love that about the kind of Bethesda's skill tree of that kind of stuff.
And I like that there is the connection. A lot of the people all have similar things that happened that got them here. It's part of Equidia's challenge to us is to find the connections. It's great, I've already got 2 of them.
Yeah.
Let me keep going. Rufius doesn't do much more than that. Once you do find the cure for rheumatism, you can give that to him and then he becomes a nicer person. And he says, I owe you 1. You say, well, maybe don't be so mean to Virgil.
Yeah.
And you could prove that he was doing it because you can find a letter that he had started, an angry letter in his quarters in the bar. There are about 3 guys that live in the bar, it looks like, or around the bar.
Yeah.
The layout, the city planning of this is kind of strange.
It's like a rat's warren.
Next on our list is the Greek character, Georgius, who is also extremely nice and friendly and
too nice.
Gives lots of helpful information. Yeah, his story can go on a bit long, but I like him. I like him as a character. He's just fun to talk to, at least once.
Yeah.
Then in the market, the other person we have is Decius.
Bleep that.
Our absolute slimy merchant.
He's basically that guy in Whiterun, isn't he? I'd sell my grandma if I could get enough gold.
He's worse, though, because
he's worse.
He's blatantly charging for medicine, which is funny that it happened. The game came out when it did, because a lot of that stuff, I think, came out after the game of all the pharmacy companies just hiking their prices just because they could.
Yeah.
And he's basically done that. Well, you can give me 1,000 denarii for this anti-venom,
right,
or antidote to the poison. Pretty much for everything. Oh, you want my vote? Well, I'll charge you for it. I took great pleasure, though, later in doing to him what he did to me in an earlier loop of saying, I promised you that you could get it, not that you could keep it. You know, he very specific semantics of what he did.
Yeah. Because he's like, if we did this, then I would give you half of it. But it's like, yeah.
And he says to me, well, I really want that bow. And you can say, I can tell you where to get one yourself. He says, oh, but if I steal it, I'd be breaking the loop. And how do I trust you for that much money? You can take him for 5,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I tried it each time raising it because you can choose between 1, 2, and 5,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't see that. That's awesome. Revenge.
How can I trust you? Well, if I don't follow through, I'll be breaking the golden rule, right? Okay, well, I guess I'll have to trust you, which is what he used against us. And then we can say, oh, the golden bow is with Diana in her temple, in the statue. And he'll say, what? But I already knew that. You didn't give me anything. I gave you the information I told you I would. I love a good loophole, which is what he said to us earlier.
Enjoy the hornets.
Thank goodness for the whispering in that one, because I was not figuring that one out. Well, I didn't know what the bow did at that point.
Yeah.
I was trying to shoot it with the wooden bow I had already, and I was doing nothing.
I was trying to swap it out. I did it for ages, and it was like, oh, you have to blow out the torches first. It's going to be dark so that no one can see you. That whole part is pretty cool, though. That whole mission that Decius sends you down the path of is quite cool, because that's where you meet Nevia, who, sorry, we're jumping around a little bit, but there's a lot of characters, who is not in the canon ending. Why is she not there? Any ideas? She's not in the museum.
Oh, Nevia?
She's the only character that's missing. Oh, well, apart from, obviously.
Missing and not mentioned.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, missing and not mentioned, yeah. Nevia is not there, and I don't know why. I
don't know. They may have mentioned her. I sort of lost interest in that point, but we'll get to that when we start talking about the endings.
Maybe she's just got a fascination with gold people.
If you want to, though, we can talk about that mission now.
Yeah.
Decius will send us in. We
shoot the hornet's nest, turn it to gold, it breaks through the floor.
Well, first you've got to turn off the braziers, like you said.
Yeah.
As soon as I walked in, I heard the lock, and I knew something was wrong. It wasn't a surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you get the golden bow, and the golden bow can turn organic material into gold. It's basically what the golden statues, anytime the loop is ending and the statues come to life, they shoot people and turn them into gold. That's why there are so many golden statues, even as you're walking in from that opening bath.
Yeah.
But now you have one of your own. Yeah,
you got basically the Midas touch, but for ranged.
Yeah. It's so fun.
It is fun. It's very satisfying to watch that happen. Even the sound effect behind it, like the boom, as it gold plates them.
Firing that at the, like you said, the hornet's nest makes it so heavy that it falls through the floor. Now you have entrance into a place you could not get to before because everything was locked off.
And an achievement, because Decius says, hey, did you know that it takes 27 hornets things to kill a man? And let me tell you, I counted them, and it does. Because there's an achievement to get stung. Basically, if you stand next to the hole and let hornets sting you, if they sting you 27 times, your health goes down and you die, and that's one of the achievements.
Okay, then.
So there you go. doing all the boring stuff so you don't have to.
Here you get to go through a bunch of caverns and things. Finally now, after seeing so many of those vines and ivy areas that say, well, if only they were stronger, they could hold me. Now I have the ability to do that. You have to face against living statues. There are ones that are sort of
peeled.
Yes.
Gross.
And I had already encountered one in the cistern, the lower cistern, because that was one of the first things I explored because that guy told me not to. So I was immediately interested in what was down there.
Well, I wasn't going, but now I am.
Yeah. Which, with no bow, my only recourse was to just kick the living statue about 400 times until I luckily knocked it into the water and it couldn't climb back up again. And then I could explore a little bit. So I found the pendant that was Scintilla's. I had found a couple bags of gold.
But you couldn't get up, obviously, because you didn't have the bow.
Yeah. And I didn't want to walk around anymore because I was sure there were probably more of those things. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know if I could keep them anywhere else where they would be stuck. So yes, I didn't really go back in. Also, one thing I didn't realize is that you can just keep building up your fortune. So I should have gone in there every loop and kicked that guy and got more gold so that I could have done some things faster. But yeah, you're going to go through. You can turn algae into gold.
Which is a great way to trap people.
Yes. That is one of the things I love the most about it. It's great to turn ivy and plants into gold so you can hop on them or climb up them or use them as a bridge. I don't know how it grew that way to make a bridge, but let's kind of ignore that fact. But trapping them, especially if you get 2 of them with one shot, that feels amazing. Shooting the actual statues themselves can be a bit tricky. A headshot seems to do it.
Headshot is 1, but a body shot is 2.
Yes, which I didn't realize for a long time. I thought body shots just didn't work.
But you got plenty of ammo, so it's like...
That is one great thing. I was worried so much, but by the end of the game, I had like 100 arrows, and I didn't really need them.
Yeah.
Wonderful. For a game that's not combat focused, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and there is an option, which is weird, but before you go into before you do something in that place, it's like, this is dark and horror elements. You don't actually have to do this part. So it's like, if you are a story person who came into this game thinking, I want to solve a time loop mystery, you can blow past this section completely.
But do you still get the golden bow?
That's the thing. I don't think you actually need it.
You don't
I think there's a way to complete the game without getting the golden bow, basically.
Actually, there probably is. I think you get away with most of it with the wooden bow as long as you do other things.
Yep.
That's interesting. Yeah, but golden bow is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
This is the best story in the game. I love this one so much.
Navia's story is dark, man. It's dark, and I love it.
You get it by finding bits of parchment and scrolls that she's written on, diary, basically, that she's left.
And I love how the game's like, hey, you might want to go back in that room and pick up that scroll. Because I walked through places and I was like, there was a scroll on that table. Oh, really? Okay, I'll go back and get it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I must have just...
Because they're like, hey, we took time to write the story. Yeah. Read it!
It's a fun little puzzle of trapping the statues behind curtains. Because they're made of silk.
There's 5 guys. It's like, I could spend 10 arrows here or 1. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
It's a fun place to explore. And then we're going to get to Navia. But along the way, we've got her story. I don't like the fact that she fell in love with the statue just because it was beautiful. That seems kind of hollow.
They're all beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think the point is that she thought that this one was speaking to her, didn't she?
Yes.
So
she heard the voices, the ones that we've been hearing.
Yes. And how long... Okay, here's the question. How long did it take for you to notice that they were turning to look at you?
Not very long.
I was always like, hey... Did that guy's head move?
The first couple times I wasn't sure, but then by the time you get 3 or 4, they are doing something. Yeah,
and it's just basically all you got to do is look at the statue, put it out of your field of vision, and look back at it, and it's looking at you, and you can hear that, like they're moving. That was a really cool little small discovery. Like for the first time, it's like, hey, that moved. I'm sure that moved. It's brilliant. But yeah, so Navia's story is so good. And you're going through and you see all the racks where she's like strapped people to these operating beds.
And I think this is one of those stories where I pretty much figured it out. Even that one in the cistern says, please kill me. Yeah. I'm miserable.
Yeah.
And you get that throughout this whole run as well. Yeah. You know that they're miserable. They're in pain.
Yeah.
And you find out why. She wants to rescue her love, but she doesn't want to experiment on the love, so she's going to keep trying on all these others. She realizes that they're not really turned to gold, they're just covered in gold. She thinks she can hear their voices. She wants to peel away the gold and save them, but she's actually probably peeling away their skin, but they can't die.
Oh man, I just got a shiver up like, that'd be such a horrible way. Well... having your skin peeled off, man.
It is very dark, yet her motivation makes sense if you believe she's in love with this and if she's been hearing the voices, but the voices have stopped. They haven't stopped for us.
They've started for us. And I love how you're like, oh, wait, I've got a solution. Patoing! I'll just shoot this one in the head. Yeah, because she's like basically like, oh, your whole confrontation with her is, oh, I can take away her pain, I can replate her in gold, and then you basically shoot an arrow into her. And
right,
then,
because she's with us there, felt time is of the essence, I need to save my love now, and she's heartbroken because it didn't work. Like it didn't work the 100 other times she tried it.
Yeah.
I don't know why she thought suddenly this time it would. What I love is that this game gives you the option through the dialogue tree to avoid a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that in all but one. So I'm going to have to look at the walkthrough for how to do that.
What one?
The canon ending. I couldn't get that to work. There's a very specific set of things I think you have to say.
Like the...
Let's get to that later because we're already...
Yeah.
How much do you want to edit?
All right, let's go.
As I said, though, probably my favorite part of the game. This felt like its own little game in and of itself. I like that you can avoid the combat. I like the fact that you can get this bow, which allows you to do more exploring and have alternate ways to do things that we didn't have before.
Yep.
And it just looks cool.
Yeah, because it's like the whole game's telling you, don't kill anyone, don't kill anyone, don't kill anyone. But now it's like, kill everything! And so it's a lot of fun. It's a bit of release in the game almost, yeah.
Next on our list is Livia, the one who seems like she's crazy. She's quoting, I think, some poetry.
Mm-hmm.
She's not crazy, she just knows the truth.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get to in just a minute. There's Lucretia, who's upset because her friend, not Julia, Iulia, died from poisoning. And boy, is she tough to save because she does that about 5 seconds into the loop. You've got to move really fast with that one.
Yeah, that's basically your first loop thing is like, if you want to get the minimalist achievement, you have to basically end your loop by stealing the medicine and then get to the exit. And then your first thing to do is just beeline straight to her and then save her.
I didn't know how to steal the medicine. I didn't know that it was just sitting there.
Just sitting there on the table.
I was trying to figure out how to get into his chest, and I went through loops of doing that. Okay, now I'm in his chest. Oh, there's nothing but money in here.
I don't need money.
Okay, I need to kill him beforehand. He's got it on him. Search the body. There's nothing. Well, I mean, money again, I think, but it's not there. I just didn't look at the stall to see that it's right there.
Right there, like... with the same kind of animation as every other pot in the city. It's like, oh.
We do find out from her, like I said, about Rufus's rheumatism, about the antidote that we need. We also find out a bit about Navia, because Navia was the actual healer. Lucretia's just filling in.
Yes. Yeah, she's like, I'm not a doctor. I'm just here because she's not here, basically.
Then we get to Aquitia or Aquitia.
Yeah, and she's pretty... I don't know. She has a task. You know, she's got a function in the game. She basically calls the election. She's also far too nice. Hint, hint. Galerius. You two would be well matched.
I still haven't worked that one out yet. There's an achievement for hooking those two up.
You know when you first come in, there's a zip line across a lake.
Yeah, which is so weird that Galerius has invented a zip line.
Yeah, he's really proud of that, by the way. But it's like basically if you drop off of that zip line halfway across, there's a flower growing on that rock.
Okay.
And if you give him that flower, then he can give that to her, and then that seals the deal.
We know he likes her because there's a letter in his chambers that he's writing to her. She is the one that gives us the quest, find out about everybody's backstory. Yes, everybody seemed to be given a coin. Most people woke up in the river. Everybody was running from the fire, which that is one thing I want to talk about.
Yes.
Everybody's running from the fire that Nero blamed on the Christians, but we find out was possibly Malleolus in his actual name of Quintius or something.
Yeah.
So my problem here is, how does everybody know that Nero blames the Christians given they've been trapped here since the fire? How did they get that news? Did Al Worth bring it from 2,000 years in the future?
I don't No. I mean, I think it's probably common knowledge about the Christians like, at the time. So, I mean...
But they started the fire that everybody came here and has been stuck here since. And
well, I think that also ties into the assassin loop. That confused me for the longest time. Sorry. I mean, I think even though he's...
That's fine. You want to jump to the assassin. We can come back to her.
But I mean, it's like the assassin loop. At first I was like, why are you here? And like, knowing what you know in the game, it's like everyone here is dead. And so you died and came here to kill Malleolus. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But what I think that the assassin actually killed Malleolus and Claudia. I think he completed his mission, but he died. They all died in the fire. And so this is him just like repeating his loop over and over again. He's got a mission to come and kill Malleolus. Because when you loot his body, he's got 1 coin on him. It's like the coin for crossing the river. And so he is stuck in this loop. His mission is absolutely, doesn't make any sense. But it does when you think about it, like he's awoken with this memory. I have to do this. This is my mission. Here's my bit of paper. And that's what he does. So I think that these guys, some of them died in this fire. But yeah, I like the assassin. I didn't, but like I said, I didn't understand it at first. Because I was like, it's kind of dumb. So your guy gave you a mission and basically you committed suicide and then came here to kill a guy who's already dead. Doesn't make sense. But now that I think about it, it's like, oh, he's just stuck in this mission loop.
I didn't think it was that. I thought that he just followed the trail and fell through the trap and he was stuck as well.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Because he came from the bathhouse.
Yeah, and so did we.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is I think he came to this place after the other people came.
Right. No, I think he's stuck in a time loop with everyone
Well, he
else.
is now, but I think that he started the loop after everybody else. Mm-hmm. So I think he was still looking for Malleolus, followed the trail here, and got stuck then with everybody else.
So you think he's alive and came in here?
Not after he fell in. I think it's possible that he died in this loop, and so he's stuck in there too. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but the 1 coin that you find on him, that's telling, isn't it? It's like, it's kind of like, why, and it's explicit. It's like, it's when you loot the body, there's the bow, the killing order, and 1 single coin. And it's like, that's the coin to cross the river of Styx, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense in my stupid brain.
I hated him until I figured out how to get rid of him.
That was great getting rid of him. Hey, just go in there. Yeah, he's in there.
And no matter where you are in the world, you will hear it fall.
Yeah, and I love just standing there watching him coming down the street. It's just like, it's so slow. It's up. In there. And then he walks in, he's like, oh, man.
Getting back to Equatia, though.
Yeah.
She is a priestess, though one of her mystery things is find out she's actually a Christian.
Yeah.
If you search her quarters, you find a note that tells you how to find the sort of Christian temple, which you can get to. The only way I could figure it out was to use the golden bow and climb some vines.
There's a key as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could be right there as somebody else would run in, but it just wouldn't let me in as well.
Yeah, if you go there when Octavia is praying there, it triggers the golden rule. Did you find that? Did you get that?
I had that at one point, but I'm not sure that I understood what happened.
Because basically, I had the golden bow, I climbed the thing, but it was just the wrong time of day. So she was in there, and I jumped in to get the tablet. And then it's just like, what happens if I talk to her? Like, hey, I was expecting like, hey, what are you doing here? But she's like, oh, you're not invited here, get out. And then it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, the many shall suffer. What? I haven't done anything.
Yeah, I didn't know what I did. I guess we trespassed?
Yeah, I think that's what she says. You're trespassing. That's exactly what she says. She says, get out of here, you're trespassing. And so that must be a sin.
I guess so. The big thing with the priestess, though, is once you've found that everybody has the same story, you go to the bathhouse, she says, everybody arrived here. I think the thing is, we're all dead. And that is the big kind of mystery. I think when you asked me in a text, hey, have you found the big mystery yet? I think this is the one you were talking about.
No, I was actually talking about the space aliens.
No, I hadn't got to that yet. That is her biggest role. She also performs overseeing the vote, which is one of the big events of the day. There's Charon, but we'll get to her later.
Kabash as well, probably later.
We could get to him now, I think. You basically, one of your endings, you need to replace all the plaques missing from the obelisk.
I mean, this is the end game, though, isn't it? It's like, this is like your final, fourth ending.
Here's the thing. When I played it through...
Did you do this first?
I didn't do this first. I did this, and then I did a whole bunch of other stuff before I ever...
Right.
You can hold on to the plaques forever.
Yeah.
So, So do you want to do it now like I did, or do you want to...
Sure. Let's go for it.
Next, I want to talk about Kabash. But before that, we actually need to talk about the hermit philosopher who doesn't want you to know his name, because if you say his name, then it's possible that the god overhearing us, at this point, I don't know what happens if you go here before you've figured out the big mystery that you're actually in the underworld already.
Well, we know his name. His name's Philip.
It is?
No, I mean at the end of the game, when you meet him in the museum. It's like, hey, my name's Philip. Yeah, okay, Philip. Whatever.
A very Greek name, Philip.
But also, here's the weird thing. If you kill him, you trigger the ending. So you're not that hidden after all, are you?
Yeah, that one shouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Also, there's a paradox here because these guys have been living here for such a long time, but they've probably not triggered the golden rule for many years. But because they can't be seen, then we don't get the happy ending.
But it doesn't matter. Bring that up again at the end, and we'll talk about it. I liked his little conversation. I loved what was going on here, because now you find, as you dig deeper physically, you're digging deeper into the mystery. This whole Roman thing is now, when you talk to Virgil about architecture, he'll say, some of these buildings look like they were Greek originally, but that's pretty normal. Yeah. Romans come in and they take over. Well, they've done that more than you realize. And then as you dig deeper, so after you have your philosophical conversation with him, which is pretty interesting, but
yeah, it's cool.
I don't really want to go into it too much. You dig deeper down. He gives you the key so you can go down. You're going to now be fighting some mummy statues instead, turning them to gold. And you're going to see that the architecture down here is much more Egyptian in style. You're going to see Kabash. Kabash is just so... His motivation, I understand it, but it's so weird. Because he knows that the Romans have built on tops of the Greeks, and that the Greeks have built on top of his Egyptian ancestors. You can see that.
Yeah. But he's like, something came before me? No, that's preposterous.
Yes, that couldn't be such sacrilege. You can't say that kind of thing. Come on,
dude.
He's going to throw the plaque, the
Sumerian plaque.
Yeah, he's going to throw that down. You have to jump down. The first time I died because I apparently jumped in the wrong spot.
Hit a rock by accident.
Yeah, something. You go down there, and then you have to go through...
the Indiana Jones maze.
Yeah. The very first plate I stepped on, a boulder comes. And, oh, okay.
And these giant boulders, which were weird because there's one of them, I think it's the last one, you stand on it, and you're facing the guy, and you hear the rumbling, and you're like, oh God, what's that? I'm gonna die. And then you turn around, and it's like, you just see it rolling past you. It doesn't even go over where you trigger the plate. It happens behind you. It's like, this is the worst trap ever.
I'm a bit mad at myself because I didn't set off the traps. I didn't know that was an achievement. You have to set off all of them. They were just so obvious, I just jumped around them.
It's like, hey, step in this giant circular plate. Oh, you see that boulder there? Don't worry about that. Just stand on this plate here. Like, nope.
I did it on the first one just to see what happened. Once I realized there were traps, so I'm not going to step on those.
Avoid the traps. That should be the achievement. Avoid all traps.
Yeah. What is interesting is that there are a bunch of barriers down there, as the Sumerians were trying to keep the Egyptians out. And basically, that's kind of, I think, how you talk your way out with Kabash. You can basically eventually make him see reason.
Yes.
And say, is it so bad? All cultures build on the one that came before it. And he eventually says, oh, okay, that's all right.
Yeah, deal with it, Kabash.
Okay, let's talk a bit about the temple at the very top, just outside, before we get to the big ending. But there's...
Octavia and...
Ulpius. Yes, where you can start talking to Octavia. She's super nice. Yeah. I used to be really well off. Now I'm scrubbing the floor. I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
I hate Ulpius, though. I just absolutely hate him. He interrupts the conversation.
Rudely, with his suicide.
He wants to jump every time. His character just has nothing outside of, I'm indebted to Malleolus, and that's a bad thing. He and Yulia promised that they would sacrifice themselves or kill themselves. That's why she keeps dying at the beginning.
Because she drank hemlock.
Yeah. He basically says, oh, there's nothing you do for me. Goodbye. Ah. He also apparently was the love interest that we find out from Sentia. She thought her sister had a love interest.
Mm-hmm.
Why this guy? I can understand why he loves her. She's rich, she's beautiful.
Right.
He's basically an indentured servant.
Yeah, because you get that in the museum ending. It's like, oh, she's going to run off. This guy, really? What?
Yeah. And also, he doesn't have anything at that point to say either. He basically says exactly what she says.
All he is an entry point into that guy's mansion. It's like, just jump already. Make a hole in the ceiling so that I can jump into the pool.
Does he make a hole in the ceiling?
Yeah, I think so.
I just thought it was an open court.
Or he shows you the way in, whatever. Yeah. But it's like...
I didn't die when I jumped, though.
No. So I think the game is... Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a roof there. But maybe there's not, but yeah.
Well, I find it hard to believe that there's a roof there, and Malleolus just keeps practicing his speech, not upset by the fact that his roof collapsed.
It's like, what was that? Oh, I don't care. Friends, countrymen, lend me your ears.
He just doesn't... Ulpius just doesn't have anything to offer, and he's just kind of annoying as a game mechanic because he keeps interrupting the conversation with Octavia every time. And no matter what you say to him, until you actually have sort of fixed Yulia's problem, you can't get him to stop.
Right.
So it's kind of like going all the way up there to find out I've got to start all over again with you again. Yulia is slightly more interesting. She has the story with Aurelia, which I had already talked to Aurelia, who owns the bar.
Hate her.
Love her as a villain, don't like her as a person. She offers a way out, charges 1,000 for it, find out it's just hemlock. It's the only way out. We also find out that she and Malleolus have been working together to trap people in this sort of loan shark deal, which is why Yulia and Ulpius have decided it's just time to go, because we're always going to be stuck in this. It's a really cool, evil story. And if they break their contract, they break the golden rule, or at least they're afraid of that. And that was something that I found really amazing about this game, is the number of ways that it showed you the golden rule could be manipulated by really terrible people.
Right.
I don't think Aurelia has much else to say.
She doesn't... no, she just hangs out at the bar and calls me a head every time. Like, I went into her room by mistake, and ever since I went into her room, because I'm just exploring, you know, and it's like, I went in, I didn't steal anything, I just looked around, she's like, get out of my room! And then it's like, ever since then, she's just hated me, so I was like...
She also flirts with you, and as soon as you flirt back, hates you?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But there's no way. I restarted it every time, and there's nothing good you can say.
No.
All right, let's talk about Domitius.
Okay, I was going to say this. We'll have to bleep this out. Barry Peas.
Help me out.
Screen wipe. Kunk is one character, and then there's this other character called Barry Peas.
Oh, when they do... Yeah, okay, so he's the alternate one.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
He sounds exactly like him. Exactly.
What? You're throwing your lot in with him for free, then?
It's hard concentrating on the word bits with all the picture bits at the top. I think maybe the way to do it is to watch it once for the words and then again for the pictures.
I got to the point where I even had to look up. I was like, is this guy in a game? Because that's brilliant, but it's not him, unfortunately. It's just so funny. It's exactly the same.
He's just a rude character. He wears his full armor all the time, even when doing push-ups.
Yeah.
He has an altercation kind of argument with Horatius outside. They both blame each other for Centilla's disappearance, I think. Something along those lines. He's Malleolus's guy through and through. Though I believe Malleolus is the one who really breaks the golden rule, it's Domitius following and trying to kill somebody that does also break the golden rule. So how do you choose which one is the one that really breaks it? If Malleolus loses the election, or even if he wins the election, either way, he's going to send this guy to kill Sentius.
Yeah.
Claudia is Malleolus's wife. She's locked upstairs. You need to get the key from one of your times through, go up there, talk to her with the right conversation tree. You can get a letter proving that this idiot accidentally wrote his real name on a letter to her. And that is the sort of convincing evidence to say, hey, Malleolus, now that you're done talking, because he'll just go on and on and on. And if Galerius is still doing his chores, you can't get him to stop. You have to wait and wait and wait. Hey, Malleolus, you've got 2 different colored eyes. I know an assassin that was looking for you. Yeah, you've got no proof. Oh, okay, well, what about this? What about this? It's the letter that's the proving thing. And this is how I got the 2 indentured slaves out.
Yeah.
I didn't pay him off.
Okay, yeah. You can go in there and, yeah, you can do that.
You can say, get out of the election, and also the slaves are free. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I did it. He has delusions of grandeur. He's sort of a fun character.
He's a senator. Of course he does. The 2 eye colors is... I guess they put that in there just to make sure that you knew who he was. I don't know why they did that, but yeah, okay, fair enough.
I think so. I think also the fact that, didn't he say like Alexander the Great had that or something as well?
So did David Bowie.
Ties into his delusions of grandeur, which pretty much just leaves a couple. Mm-hmm. One of them being Centilla.
Yeah.
Centilla is an adopted daughter of Sentius, which we find through a note in her chambers, I think, saying, thank you for... Actually, I think it's his chambers, a note that says, thank you for adding me to your family. But then we find out Sentius is terrible. Like, he's absolutely terrible. Not only is he the one who started the loop, he does it so that he can remain here in one of his perfect days.
Which in itself is a bit... I mean, he's been doing this for how many years? I don't know, man. Even if you had the perfect day, that would get boring after, like, how many years are you doing this for?
I don't think he has a choice once he set it in motion. But I also don't understand how that works, because he knows Al. He keeps the memories. Mm-hmm. Clearly, he started the loop for Al?
I don't know if he started it for Al. I think it was started because of Al.
Has he started it multiple times, though?
Well, that's the thing. I think in his, like, kind of confession to us is, like, I'll just wait for the next gullible idiot to come along and then keep them in the loop because we are Al's replacement, aren't we? And so his plan is like, if you die, if you don't want to be here, then I'll just get someone else eventually. But that doesn't sound like a good life to me. Just like always living on edge if someone's going to break the golden rule, and you know what happens because you've seen it over and over again. It would be just living in a life of constant fear. That would be a terrible existence. I don't get this guy at all. And I think the game is just like, just time paradox, whatever. It's like, they've not really gone into like the detail of that part. And I get it. It wouldn't make a fun game to be like living in the perils of time travel constantly.
I guess. It does leave a lot of niggling things for me, though. It
does, yeah.
And I do find it...
You and your time paradoxes, Justin.
I find it difficult to let go. I do like the fact that it is a time paradox, and they do admit that right away.
Yes.
Great. But here to find Centilla, and one of the best things is going through the lower cistern, because you can get arrows, you can get money, you get the pendant over and over again, you can get... What's in the other section? Like another thing of money if you make the algae golden. Or you can just climb up here, which, like you said, is faster to get to than going all the way up around the bridge and into the...
And find that little secret bit in the back.
Yeah. She's been trapped here because she wanted to escape. Mm-hmm. And escape breaks the golden rule?
As we've been told multiple times. And they're like, yeah, we saw that in the past. Like, they tried to basically build a ladder out of here, up through the cavern. And that triggered the golden rule for one of the civilizations.
So she's trapped here. You can let her go. Pretty much the thing that will happen for you, if you have followed the same path as I did, is you're going to talk to Sentius. He's going to admit to everything. And then she's going to kill him. You're just a distraction. Or we, as the character, just the distraction.
Or if you have the gun, this is where the trigger option comes in. And then you're like, boom, you pop him in the head. And then you get an achievement for it.
Okay. There are two ways that this happens, so we're getting into our endings now. Mm-hmm. So one of them basically she escapes and nobody else.
Yeah.
But she leaves a carved tablet to us as our character that we are going to get to see in the future, where we have to wait for Al to come. Okay, so the first time is not a big deal, but doing it the second time, it felt like I'm doing exactly the same thing and having the exact same conversation again. Follow Al out. There we get to meet Karen, or Charon, which apparently all of these cultures have this sort of character in their mythology.
Yep, Hades, Pluto, whatever.
Even through the Egyptian, like all of these have a sort of ferryman character.
And that's quite funny, because right at the start of the game, it's like, dead-end job, just the commute is terrible, you know? It's like, oh, it's kind of clever. I like how they set that up.
Once you start telling her you know who she really is, her eyes turn
fire kind of thing, yeah.
And until Al shows up and then turns back, oh, Al, so good to see you.
And that's one thing I don't understand. Why is she so obsessed with Al?
I don't know. I will say this. I think that her whole thing of there's 1,000 coins or whatever, anybody who has those coins she has to bring here. It's a special thing. It's not everybody gets to come here. It's only certain people, sort of by chance or fate, who end up with these coins. And Al and we, as the player character, are the last 2 coins. So no matter what happens, this is the end. I don't think it needs to be, but there's something about having that limit to the chances that is kind of interesting. I think as well, the whole backstory of we were blamed for a murder or something that we didn't really do.
We were murdered.
Well, Al housed us, tried to protect us, gave us some money, including one of the special coins by accident.
Yeah.
Because he's an archaeologist or something. He happened to have one.
I'll pay him in these old fake coins.
As we tried to escape, that's when the cops kill us. I'm not sure it really would count as murder. They call it murder. We were shot.
Was it cops?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I thought we were robbed. I thought it was a mugging. I thought that's what they said it was.
No, I think that we were accused of something like that. But in trying to be apprehended, we were murdered. I'm not sure that murder is the right word there, but okay, here we are.
Yep.
Hearing that whole bit twice was not...
Yeah,
I skipped the backstory.
Whole story is just like, oh, come on. Especially it takes him so long to walk down those stairs. Like, just come on, Al. Just get to the point.
I'm going to board this up so nobody else gets in. Yeah, that's fine.
We saw it in the beginning, Al.
Yeah. It's the 3rd time I've seen this. I don't need to see it again. Yeah, so that part does get a little tedious.
Yeah.
But it's a small thing to complain about in a big, huge, wonderful game. You can, as I said, I think earlier, you can tell Galerius to just round up people. And we find out that he ends up... So in our stone tablet that Scintilla leaves us, only like a handful of people escape because it's the handful that he could get, and also he tried to save Dooley and he couldn't. So he died as well, poor Galerius.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Those are the first 2 endings that I got. And then I got the big ending, but I actually want to talk about the other one first. And that is Sentius, you started this loop, and I need to create a paradox. If I kill you, paradox over. And he'll try to talk you out of it, but that's super easy. And you could do that really fast.
Yeah, I did that once by accident because I basically...
You shot him by accident.
Whoops. No, it was on... I mean, I shot him with the pistol. That is one of the achievements. But way back when I played this, when it first came out, I ran to the temple. And you know how you can always beat him there? Or sometimes you can beat him there and you see his little marker running through the village. I'm just like, I wonder what would happen if I just shot him, like just for and giggles, you know, just like boom. And I arrowed him before he got to the temple, and it's like, oh.
You didn't mean to.
No, I didn't mean to trigger an ending, but I was just curious, like what would happen if I killed him? Oh, this happens, yeah.
I will say, dealing with him after you've already seen the ending where you find out how terrible of a person he is. After finding out that he's willing to keep his adopted stepdaughter chained up here for eternity, and that he does this loop for his own preservation. I live forever. I'm like a god in this day.
Yeah.
Even though I do exactly the same thing every day.
Yeah. I wonder if he does like Bill Murray, like just like puts a toaster in the bathtub and just sees.
No, he can't.
No, he can't
because
do
he
that.
has
Yeah,
to create
yeah,
the
that's
paradox.
true. Yeah. But I mean, at least for Scintilla, she's only living that day once.
That is true. But to him,
Yeah.
it's forever.
Yes.
Now let's get to the canon ending.
This one was a big curveball for me, man. I did not expect this. I did not expect space aliens.
I did not either. That was where I took a screenshot. I was turning around.
What?
I just came from this Roman temple, and now I'm in Doom?
Insert aliens meme guy, you know, from the History Channel. Like, I told you it was aliens.
Yeah, so apparently, according to Pluto, or God of the Underworld, as his label is, he and his race of super long-living beings came here, said humans always sin. He fell in love with the goddess of springtime, though I think... Was she one of them before?
No, she gave up. That's the whole point of the game, is like she gave up her immortality to become human.
But that's what I mean. She was one of them.
I don't know. All I know is that she gave up her immortality to become human so that she could live as one of us, basically.
And she's been abducted and trapped because...
And he's not down with that.
Diseased in some way. She's going to die.
Well, she's mortal.
Yeah, but I think it's more than just that. Didn't she also get one of the plagues that they were talking about?
No. I think her disease is humanity, you know, is being human. I think that's what he's angry about, is that she chose to be as lowly as us and to live a mortal life. Because at the end of the game as well, she's like, I'm human now, I'm going to die, you know, and that's her sacrifice, and that's what she wants that.
Yeah, I guess I was confused because to me it felt like she'd been abducted, she became one of them, and then she gave it up again, but that doesn't seem to quite work, does it?
Not quite the sacrifice, is it?
Yeah. Well, it would be still.
Yeah. It's like, I became immortal, and now I'm giving it all up again. Yeah, maybe. No, as far as I know, she was his bride.
But not by choice.
No, because that's Persephone's story, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
And she's been the one whispering to us all along.
Yeah, through the statues, yeah.
She will tell us to break her cage. She will die. Yeah, it's a weird thing where she just dies from the sort of cage being shattered.
I guess she's like in her last throes or whatever, you know, and it's like, this is her being preserved.
You have to take the crown, start the loop again, and then when you throw down the crown, that's when the God of the Underworld says, oh, okay, fine, I'm out of here. Yeah. Like, your arguments did not satisfy me because I chose the wrong one every time. There's something I'm missing. I've
got it right here, man. Look at this, right? This is the exact dialogue that you got to take. There's 22 correct ways to answer, and that's how you managed to convince him.
Right. I also feel like I'm missing something.
And if you deviate from that, it's like, nope, that's it.
Yeah.
Wrong ending.
Which I don't like. The other ones, I just seem to be able to do it. It felt natural to choose. This one doesn't work that way. And that I found frustrating.
Yeah.
As much as I like some of the concepts that are brought up here as well, it just goes on forever.
Yeah.
And it's not visually interesting because he's not walking around. He's just sitting there talking the whole time. I also just don't like his rationale. I
think that's kind of the point as well, is like, his rationale is stupid because, like, dude, you're breaking the golden rule. Yeah. And that's the point, is the hypocrisy of it all, is like, do unto others. Hello?
Yeah. And that's his thing is, for example, Decius, he was raising the money on life-saving medicine. Well, yeah, but that's what he would expect of anyone else, so that's totally fine. Scintilla was trapped. That's okay? Oh, yeah, of course. You shouldn't let your lover escape. That would be a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, you're pretty flawed. And that's kind of what I was hoping for, I think, is that we already had the Kabash bit.
Right.
Where he had been a bit closed-minded, but we were able to open his mind. And with this character, we couldn't do that. And it felt closed off and cheap.
Right. And it should be easier. This list of things, like, it should be more natural, and it should feel like, I think the game does a bad job of making you feel smart in this sense, whereas like you said, everything else seems kind of normal. It's like, and if I meant to say this earlier, I love how there's no time limit on choosing responses. Like, don't make me sweat it, man. Don't have a make your decision now. All right, Telltale. But it's like, no, you sit there.
You've given me 4 paragraphs to read. Give me time.
Yeah, and it's like this one is like, you've got 5 answers and you're like, this one. And then it progresses. And I love that about this game, but this is just like, there's too many questions. There's too many, and if you get one of them wrong, it's like, done. Come on. You kind of dropped the ball there. I didn't like that.
I spent so much time on this as well. I think that's part of the problem is I was trying to talk my way out of it, and I just didn't seem to be able to. And I tried so many times, and I've heard these speeches and these questions and this bit so many times. Again, I like the concept, though. He made a wager that humanity could actually go a year without sinning. But what does that mean? And who defines that? It sounds like he did. And he chose poorly. If you want the humans to win, then make it easier.
Yeah. Well, I think that was Jupiter or Zeus that said that, wasn't it? It was him that set the wager. Like, if you can do this, then I will grant you this.
The god of the underworld is the one who set the rule, though, because we ask him, well, who made the golden rule? And he said he did, and he thought it would be simple.
So well, you're an idiot then.
I think it's kind of his hubris there.
Yeah.
I'll give them one rule, and it's up to him as to whether or not they've broken the rules.
Yeah, because like there's parts in the game where it's like, oh, it didn't trigger the rule. Like, oh well, I guess that's out, and like that doesn't matter.
Suicide doesn't count.
Yeah.
You make the rules. Why are you so unbending if the rules are the things that are going to stop you from having the love of your life? It just really baffles me. I don't understand, because when we ask who made the golden rule, well, I did. And all of these things. Don't you think that maybe we should get some leniency here and you will also get the reward? No. You've broken it. Just so close-minded.
Yeah.
So close-minded that it's also costing him. This is his last chance.
Yes.
To get who he thinks is the love of his life. I mean, she would disagree, clearly.
Yeah.
I just don't get his character. And I just can't get over that. And the number of times I've been through it, getting more and more annoyed each time I played this one.
Well, honestly, just get that guide, answer those 22 questions, and you'll be like, you might even not even be satisfied, man, because you'll be like, well, that doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you say that? But okay, I guess that's the way.
Or why did that work and all the other things I said didn't work?
Yes.
I do think there's one piece of information that I'm missing in a concrete way, because I read through one of my loops, Aurelia's journal, where she admits that she and Malleolus have been doing this con to get people stuck in debt. But I didn't find a way to keep that in any way. So I'm not sure if that is stopping me from having one of the bits of dialogue.
No. I like I said, I did this with minimal loops, and I didn't. Basically, this walkthrough here is like, it even tells you, like, go in, ask this, and then as soon as you've done that, just say, I don't want to talk about this anymore, and just duck out. You don't have to unlock things to get this.
Okay, that's good to know. I didn't get that on my choice of, these things are sins, aren't they? Why don't they count? That didn't come up, and it seemed like that should be the top one.
Maybe it's unlocked through a dialogue tree, though. Like, you've got to answer correctly to get to that point.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. Let's get to the after bit for this one, then. We don't have to go talk to Charon by the woods. We now have to go through a long museum. We don't have to. We could have just run right through, I guess. And if I ever play again, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
I like this ending. I love this ending because
I found this to be the most boring thing.
That's why I loved it. Because I loved going through. I spoke to everybody. I looked at everything.
I did too, and
I loved it.
They didn't say anything interesting.
Ah, it was fun though. Like, oh man, I bought a farm in this place, and
yeah, of course you did, Galerius. You're a farmer. I'm not surprised. Oh, you and Aquitia are together. Of course you are, because there's an achievement for that.
I got you together. Yeah.
Well, I didn't do that.
Yeah, right.
But they still did anyway.
Yeah.
Virgil and Rufius ended up together. Oh, big surprise. Because there are all sorts of dialogue options with Rufius to say, I think you're being a little harsh on him, aren't you? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Decius lying on that sofa, like, paint me like one of your French girls. Like, What?
That was probably the only good one because you can tell him to invest in something that clearly is not a good investment.
Yeah, invest in Bitcoin or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, but...
They all think that we're an oracle, so he's trusting our future seeing.
Yeah. Pork bellies. Buy pork bellies.
Scintilla still ends up with Ulpius. And like I said, Ulpius has nothing to say except exactly what she just said to me.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'm with Scintilla. And we're happy. Yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah, she's not.
I'm glad you liked it. Most of the stuff you're looking at the museum, though, is stuff I already clicked on in the regular game.
Exactly, yeah.
It's so boring. And then get to the end. Okay, there you are.
The big reveal. And like you said, I was waiting for Navia to show up. Or Navia, whatever her name is. And like, yeah, she's not in the museum. And I don't know why. But, okay, fair enough.
Some other people do get mentioned. Sentius was the only one who seemed to be truly punished, trapped in the past, and covered in gold.
As a gold statue. Maybe she's peeling his skin off.
Maybe. Malleolus and Claudia got in trouble or something with the law. There's some things where we don't get to see everybody.
Oh, yeah. They're missing as well, yeah. That's right. Someone died. That's right.
I don't know why this one bothers me in particular so much. When other games like Costume Quest, I really like this type of thing. I think it's just that there's so many and they have nothing interesting to say.
Yeah.
It's just, why? This would be better to just do a quick recap for us. You did that with the others with the stone tablet. This one seems like it would be just as good and faster. Yeah, so we get to the end. We get to meet the now human form of the goddess of springtime.
Yes.
And they say, oh, you saved everybody.
She's like, hey, I'm going to die now. Woohoo! Yeah. Okay, well done.
And here's all the people you didn't get to meet who you also saved because of this.
All the gold statues, basically, I think, are down in the below part, yeah.
But all the gold statues? This has been going on for a very long time, through at least 3 civilizations.
Like, yeah, 4, no, more than that, like 7,000 years. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
They'll wave at you. Yay!
Yeah, and you get applause. Yeah. Great. End of game. And that's it. That's the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, for me, what works is a lot of the characters do have a bit of interesting backstory. They do say different things. This is different than the way Skyrim NPCs feel, where, did somebody steal your sweet roll?
I used to be an adventurer like you.
Until I took an arrow to the knee. When you hear that like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
This one is different. You ask the same question, but you get a slightly different answer every time. And some of their backstories are quite interesting.
Yeah.
These characters feel individual. But more so, I think it's just the fact that you have the big mystery that you're going after. How do I get back? Where are we? And all the little mysteries. How do I stop this person from dying? How do I stop this person from running? How do I get this other person elected? All of those little mysteries, I think, are what really make it interesting. I think that that's one thing where some time loop games maybe go a bit wrong and just have you focus on one thing. It's all the little things that I actually found much more interesting than the one big puzzle. And for me, that's the big part of why this game worked for me.
Yeah, like with the Obra Dinn or Outer Wilds. Honestly, I'm going to say, like, maybe you should try Outer Wilds if you like this, because the Outer Wilds is Forgotten City in space. So you might like it, but it's heavy on the exploration side. So maybe not. But no, I agree with you completely. It's like this whole thing of like, you take these little baby steps and you find out something and then maybe you die and you restart the loop. If you're not Chivo hunting in it, then the game is very fun, because if you're not sweating like how many times you restart a loop, it's like you find out something, you die, you go back into the loop, and then you're like, I have this information. It's almost like a roguelike, but instead of weapons and armor, it's information. You know, that's really cool. I love this kind of game. Yeah, like you said, it's like finding out something, solving all these little mysteries combine into the big mystery. It's really cool. It's a great game. I mean, we haven't talked about anything about the technical or the development side of it. Like you pointed me to, NoClip has an awesome documentary on the making of this game.
And that's where I'd recommend people go. We've spent long enough talking about the parts that we already love about the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would direct you there. Go to the NoClip documentary about The Forgotten City. If you've listened to all this, then you're not worried about spoilers. But I even watched it before I played, and I don't think anything major got spoiled for me.
They're good about spoilers on NoClip. Yeah.
But I like this game, and I hope we can see more like this in the future.
Yeah. I will, for the people watching on YouTube and not listening to this, I will leave you with a really funny video of, at the end of the game, if you have the gun, you can draw the gun on Karen at the end, but you've got no bullets. It magically dissolves all of your bullets, but because you've got the gun pointed at her, she does this whole animation where she's like trying to defend herself, and it looks like she's dabbing all over the place. So that's going to be the end of this video. Because it was so funny, because like she just didn't stop doing it. She's talking, but she's like holding her hands above her head and she's like, don't kill me. Yeah, so gaps filled, more gaps created.